Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Jacob Beck, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Our normal Wednesday guest will be here in order. It'll be Glen West at 1:30. Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end and with the LSU Alumni Association, be with you at 2 o'clock. And, of course, Sharief Ishaq at 2:30 talking Saints. Very much looking forward to all of that. Got a little LSU baseball to get to at the end of this hour. Been a report from Kendall Rogers about some shuffling of the LSU regulars. We'll talk about it coming up at 1:45. Plenty to do, so let's crank it up the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, LSU in South Carolina coming up from Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. Been a minute since LSU was on the field. Those bye weeks early in the season tend to kind of kill a little bit of momentum, I think. Everybody's ready for a bye week in the old one bye week seasons. You get to, Halloween. You've got 8 games in the bank. It might be time to decompress a little bit. It feels like you were just picking up steam with conference play, and then boom, you got to take a week off. But it's time to get back into it and start talking about games that will be played. And LSU and South Carolina will do battle on Saturday night at 6:45. I do a piece for LouisianaSports.net for all the conference weeks called A Series History, and I just kind of go through notable games and moments in the LSU South Carolina and the history of whatever that opponent is for the week. And this week, I really did learn some things. If I know Auburn's coming up, you know what's coming. Earthquake, cigar, barn burning, interceptions, leverage. They're infinite. Not infinite, that's incorrect. It's very finite. But there are a lot of instances that you can point to in that series that you automatically go to. I did it for Florida a few weeks ago, and you talk about 97, sure. You talk about the Spurrier dominance of the 90s, sure. You talk about the fake punt with Brad Wing, sure. You talk about the fake field goal in the Swamp or the fake field goal in Baton Rouge, sure. You talk about the Hurricane game where things got moved and LSU got stopped at the 1-yard line. You talk about, of course, 2007 and the 4th downs. You can point to those games in these series histories. You can also do that with Ole Miss, as did a couple of weeks ago. You go back to Billy Cannon, you go back to Eli, you go back to Archie Who, Odell Beckham kick return 2 years ago, the ridiculous track meet. You automatically recall a lot of these series, right? In South Carolina, if I put you on the spot and give me the LSU South Carolina history, I think most people will be like, not a lot. And that's fair because there haven't been a lot of games. There have only been, in the history of this series, 23 games. South Carolina joined the SEC in 1992. They were not permanent opponents with LSU. There's not a ton of history to go back on, but there were some games that I do remember, but they produced a couple things that maybe you might have forgotten. Maybe not. Maybe I'm underestimating you, but maybe you have. And I went back and kind of wrote about it a little bit at LouisianaSports.net. I kind of wanted to get into it before we got into the X's and O's and the matchups of what exactly this game's going to look like on Saturday. There's some interesting things on a trip down memory lane with LSU and South Carolina. I'll tell you this. LSU has had their fair share of success against the Gamecocks. 23 all-time games, 20 wins for LSU, 2 wins for South Carolina, 1 tie. South Carolina's lone win over LSU since 1930 came in 1994 in Baton Rouge. And since then, LSU tied South Carolina in 1995, and the Tigers have won 8 in a row in that series. And in that 8, there have been some interesting storylines. Do you all remember in 2015, LSU was set to go to Columbia to play South Carolina, but flooding was catastrophic in the low country there in South Carolina, and the game had to be moved. So on Wednesday of that week, the decision was made to move the game from Columbia to Baton Rouge. So LSU sold some tickets. They donated all those proceeds back to Baton Rouge, back to Columbia. But there were only 50,000 people at this game. They put the South Carolina entrance on the Jumbotron pregame and tried to do what they could, but it was an LSU home game with half capacity. And Leonard Fournette ran for 158 yards in 3 quarters of play. LSU in that game ran for 396 yards. 396 yards in that game. And afterward, Steve Spurrier gave this quote: "I just get frustrated watching our guys. Their guys must have broken 8 tackles on their big runs. Our guys go in there and just fall on the ground. Nobody tackles them." And that was the last game Steve Spurrier ever coached. 3 days after LSU ran for almost 400 yards on South Carolina when they had been displaced from a flood in October, Steve Spurrier said, "I'm done." And that was it for Steve Spurrier. So I think that is an interesting footnote. But that's not the only time that LSU and South Carolina have played each other in a half-empty stadium in Baton Rouge. No, they did that in 2020. We had the COVID regulations. We had the social distancing. I was just working for the LSU Sports Radio Network at the time. I was not doing LouisianaSports.net and did not have this show. So I was just ticketed from LSU radio, and I was sitting out with the mask on in the stands with those of you that were there. And if you'll remember, TJ Finley got the start that night. LSU was dealing with the injury issues. Miles Brennan had gone out with that issue with his, the injury he suffered against Missouri, whatever it was. And they went to Finley, who became the 8th true freshman quarterback to start a game at LSU since World War II that night. And all LSU did was go out and score 52 points on South Carolina and beat them 52-24. In that game, LSU scored on offense, defense, and special teams. Eli Ricks had a pick 6 in that game as a freshman. And Trey Palmer, cousin Trey, we've got a lot of speed in the family, as you all know. Trey Palmer ran the first kickoff for a touchdown back in Tiger Stadium since Dalton Hilliard in 1981 that night, a span of 29 years. And it was done in front of basically nobody in a COVID-emptied stadium against South Carolina. So 2 instances fairly recently in the last 10 years that LSU has played South Carolina in a half-empty Tiger Stadium. 2012, I'll go back to this game. This is a game I remember very vividly. I was covering the team for Bayou Bengals Insider at the time. And LSU was coming off that magical year in 2011 and went out and just didn't do a lot against Auburn and ended up squeaking out a win on the Plains with Zach Mettenberger and Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Jeremy Hill, and that great defense with Eric Reed and Kevin Minner and Daryl Simon and Benny Logan and Barkevius Mingo, Sam Montgomery, Kevin Minner, all those guys. They're playing great defense. They couldn't score. And they barely got out of Auburn alive. And then they went to Florida and got beat by Will Muschamp's Florida team, who ran it with Mike Gillislee 9,000 times. And LSU couldn't score. And they lost a couple of offensive linemen in the process. And you were playing South Carolina, who was undefeated, ranked 3rd in the country, Jadeveon Clowney, Marcus Lattimore, Stephon Gilmore, like a really, really, really good team for South Carolina. And the thought was, well, they're not going to be able to block Clowney because they don't have any tackles. And, like, this South Carolina team is just better than this LSU team. We thought this was a great LSU team. Coming off 2011, you changed quarterbacks, but you got a lot of everybody else back. And LSU came out that night in Tiger Stadium with Josh Durasic playing left tackle for the first time in his career, a 6th-year senior who had been a guard playing left tackle. You put Trey Turner and Vidal Alexander on the right side of the line, both freshmen. And you ran the ball on them. You leaned on them a little bit. Defense played great, and LSU won the game 23-21. Connor Shaw threw a late interception to Eric Reed. And I think a lot of you remember that game. You'll probably remember the Clowney game. And you remember that LSU started some different offensive linemen, and all that might ring a bell. I did not remember this. This was the game. South Carolina 2012, where Les Miles said this was Death Valley, the place where opponents' dreams come to die. And I remember that quote vividly. I could give you that whenever. But I didn't really pin it to the South Carolina game in 2012. That's when Les Miles said it. And then you go to last year's game, which was pretty wild. I think it'll probably get kind of buried in LSU history because South Carolina is not a big rival because LSU didn't accomplish much last year. It just wasn't that big a deal in December. But it was a big win for LSU. You realize, like, game day showed up in Columbia last year for the first time in 10 years. It had been 10 years since game day went to Columbia. And then they put the kickoff time at 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. So game day led into LSU, South Carolina. And immediately, South Carolina goes up 17-0. 17-0. And at that point, you're not thinking much is going to come from it, but Garrett Nussmeier led LSU down the field, put some points on the board. Caden Durham emerged his first, like, real action as the LSU starting running back. And then Lenora Sellers got hurt, and LSU forced a couple turnovers. Robbie Ashford came in. And, yeah, you got a little bit of help on an interception that was a pick six that was called back for the block on Nussmeier. But you won the game, 36-33. And that's probably the game that matters the most on Saturday because Sellers is back, and Nussmeier's back, and Durham's back, and Shane Beamer is back, and Joe Sloan is back, and Blake Baker is back. Now, they've got a different offensive coordinator. Dal Loggins moved on, head coach at Appalachian State. They've got Mike Shula, who's in some hot water over there right now because they're not moving the ball. But a lot of the same characters, including Dylan Stewart, are back from that game last year. And you've got a lot of high-end talent in this game, but you've also got a pair of offenses that are really struggling and some real talent on defense that is going to have to try to carry their team to a victory with two very experienced quarterbacks that we considered entering this season to be among the Heisman frontrunners, to be among the top 10 pick discussion when next spring rolls around. And so, again, not an earth-shattering look here, not as much fun as maybe memory lane against Alabama or Florida or Auburn or even Arkansas or Ole Miss. But I thought some interesting nuggets to pull from what has been a short history between LSU and South Carolina, but one that's kind of packed with some interesting storylines and some games you won't soon forget. I don't think you soon forget the South Carolina flood game where they come here. I don't think you soon forget the COVID year when TJ Finley started. I don't think you soon forget Death Valley where opponents' dreams come to die. Like, those are things that still live on, but you may not have immediately, or I certainly didn't with the Les Miles quote, tie them right back to South Carolina. We'll see those two teams going at it in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. Incidentally, in Tiger Stadium, LSU is 13-1 all-time against South Carolina. They one time the two teams did not play in the regular season, 1987 Gator Bowl. LSU and South Carolina. LSU won that one. All right, so that's our Genesis opening drive here on this Tuesday. We'll talk to Glen West of Go 24/7 in 15 minutes. Come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, just phenomenal folks to work with from an insurance perspective. I was in the business for 7 years, as you well know. I kind of know how things go in that world. And if you're going to trust your business, you need to do it with an agency and a brokerage like the Highland Insurance Group. They're going to make sure their clients are protected. That is job number one. I think a lot of folks in the insurance game are saying, hey, I can save you some cash here. I can save you some cash here. And that sounds attractive. Any insurance broker can save cash for you. They just got to cut a bunch of coverage out. Is that really the way you want to buy your insurance? At the Highland Insurance Group, they're experts in reading the coverages. Those policies can be complex. They've got folks in-house that audit those things all day, every day for free. They will make you aware of where your holes may be, where things are strong, what market might be a better fit, both from coverage and a price perspective. They understand price is important. That's why they got contracts with dozens of markets who can make sure you're paying for what you need to have in your insurance program. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carver and his team right here in Baton Rouge. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, Our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Daryl May, Trustee Properties. I tell you all the time that Daryl can help you find that piece of real estate in the rural areas like the Felicianas, Point Capee, up into Mississippi, and he certainly can do that. More than happy to help you with that new hunting property. But Daryl's also just a licensed realtor in Louisiana, Mississippi. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in Baton Rouge, where Daryl was born and raised and knows like the back of his hand, trust Daryl May at Trustee Properties to do it. Not only is he a licensed realtor, he spent more than 2 decades helping build homes. So no one is better in that space at identifying quality listings, quality properties for you to purchase, or helping you sell yours. Daryl May, Trustee Properties. It is a name you can trust. Bring you our Tuesday shows each and every week. There has been an advancement in the Kyron Lacey call it case, call it situation, call it back and forth. There's been an advancement today. Yesterday, we discussed the video that was released on Friday that featured Kyron's attorney, Matt Ory, on HTV down in Houma, detailing some of the findings from the district attorney's investigation that support his case for Kyron. And we went through a lot of that, and I gave you some of my thoughts, some of my opinions, and then took it a step further as far as the social media reaction and ultimately the events that led up to Kyron's tragic death. And today, Louisiana State Police released an 11-minute video with more findings and more evidence. This video, which you can go find, we've got it at louisianasports.net. You can find it there, just a quick Google search away. This video contains surveillance footage of the wreck site and some of the events leading up to the wreck. It contains body camera footage from the officers at the scene of the crime. It includes some written statements. It includes a diagram of the events that led up to it as their investigation detailed. And it has a narrator that lays out the facts into why Louisiana State Police pressed charges and ultimately arrested Kyron Lacy and reinforced the belief that that arrest was justified within the last 72 hours. So you can go look at this, and I'll give you my opinions. I realize that everybody listening to this doesn't have the 44 minutes of information that I have from the HT video and the 11 minutes that I have from this Louisiana State Police video. They are two different videos. It's an hour of your time. I've taken that hour of my time because it's part of my job to be informed and to give you opinions as to what happens in the news cycle. But I realize that a lot of you haven't. A lot of you have, for sure. It's right there on the internet, and there are a lot of views on these videos. What I told you yesterday was Kyron's attorney laying out some of the facts about Kyron being a football field behind the collision, about Kyron braking, about a car that was headed northbound that ultimately collided with Mr. Hall's car and was part of the collision that killed Mr. Hall. The data suggesting there was no braking and a swerve into oncoming traffic, and a lot of indications that would suggest there were other factors outside of what Kyron was doing behind the wreck that should have been taken into consideration. He spelled out an interaction between law enforcement and one of the witnesses, a driver of a gold truck, that appeared to him to be a leading line of questioning to coerce a statement that was in line with what Louisiana State Police was looking for to get an arrest and a conviction. That's what he laid out. And I told you yesterday, like, I'm fully aware I am listening to Kyron's attorney talk with the other side's not present. But here's what I think about it. And I told you yesterday. Today, we got Louisiana State Police video. And it shows different information. It shows video of Kyron passing 4 vehicles illegally at a high rate of speed. It shows Kyron approach the site of the accident, the collision, in his Charger and drive through it. It shows the law enforcement officer walking up to eyewitnesses and getting their initial immediate response. And then it gives a different diagram of the sequence of events as Louisiana State Police saw it. Ultimately, there's no court of law here that's going to rule on this in terms of the charges that were filed against Kyron as a result of the collision. That process is done. Kyron is no longer with us, and as his attorney said yesterday, there's no criminal investigation ongoing. So at this point, as Matt Orey said in his written statement yesterday, like, at this point, this is the court of public opinion. So, and I will be very, very abundantly clear once again, we are now entering Hunt Palmer's opinion. This is a talk show. I'm here to give opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion based on this evidence. And as a caveat, before I get into the opinion, I'm not an attorney. I don't know every legality. I don't know exactly what the qualifications are for some of the charges that were laid out. I don't know what the alternatives to all of those are. And that's beyond the course and scope of what I'm going to do here. This is not a news channel where we're getting to the bottom of criminal investigations daily. There is a sports figure that is involved here, so I think it's relevant for this show. And we're talking about a situation that is developed today. So this is my opinion based on watching 44 minutes led by Kyron Lacy's attorney, Matt Orey, and 11 minutes led by Louisiana State Police. Keep in mind, Kyron's attorney did not show me the video of Kyron passing those vehicles at a high rate of speed. He did not. Keep in mind, Louisiana State's State Police video did not show me the body camera footage of the conversation with the man with the gold truck, who I do believe to be the most important witness in this case. So again, I am fully suggesting to you that you're getting sides of the story that are in Louisiana State Police's best interest and Kyron Lacey via the representation of Matt Ory's side of the story. I completely get that. And so I have taken that, and now I'm going to give you what I think happened. My opinion on this matter is not significant, but I'm just going to tell you what I think based on what I've seen. I think Kyron made two really, really poor decisions. The decision to drive that fast on that road around 4 vehicles was a very, very bad decision. That is reckless operation of a vehicle for sure. You can see on the video how much faster he is going than everybody else. We do know that that is a no passing zone. It was reckless operation of that vehicle. No question about that. And in my opinion, it was a bad, bad decision of Kyron to watch that collision right in front of him. You can't miss a car accident less than 100 yards in front of you. And to wiggle around that and be gone. He's not the first person to do that. He wasn't involved in the actual collision. He's a young person. That's a high-stress situation. I understand. I believe it was a bad decision of his to drive away. That's my opinion. I think it is likely, my opinion, that his decision to drive recklessly alerted a lot of people in a small area driving vehicles. I don't know why the gold truck veered off to the side or how quickly the gold truck veered off to the side. But that was one of the decisions, that gold truck moving off, that triggered the next thing, which was the Kia moving into oncoming traffic and the other Kia that Mr. Hall was driving. Those two Kias collided. Now, I cannot speak to you today, right now, how much impact Kyron's driving had on those two Kias colliding. It is, in my opinion, extremely plausible that the gold truck veered off to the side because of Kyron, that the Kia saw Kyron, didn't know how to avoid Kyron, and crashed into the other Kia. That is plausible to me. It is also very plausible to me that the Kia did not see Kyron, was not paying attention, was eating Funyuns, as she said, and listening to her music, as she said, realized she was getting way too close to the gold truck, was going to hit the gold truck, veered into oncoming traffic, and hit the Kia, completely independent of what Kyron was doing recklessly 75 yards away. That's plausible. Both of them are plausible to me. That would make me a very difficult juror on this case that would need more information. And I'm confident, while not certain, I'm confident there is more information that I don't have. I'm confident in that. So what I'm telling you as I go through this, I don't have a gavel here to bang and tell you this is definitely what happened and this is definitely what the ruling should be. There are a lot of people on Twitter, in Facebook comments, in message boards, wherever, that have very, very strong opinions about this. I don't fall in either of those camps. I think there are some issues with eyewitness accounts. I think there are some issues with the questions that were and weren't asked from law enforcement. I think there are issues with the decision-making of some of the drivers. I realize this is not the most salacious and juiciest take you've ever heard, but I'm just trying to view this as openly as possible, and I can see both sides. I think it's very, very possible that if Kyron doesn't drive recklessly and pass those 4 cars, potentially causing the gold truck to stop what he's doing and pull off to the side, which then makes the car behind the gold truck veer into oncoming traffic, which then creates that collision, that's possible to me. It's also possible that a woman was eating Funyuns and not paying attention, and she wasn't looking forward, and that she ended up driving into oncoming traffic because she wasn't going to brake quickly enough because she wasn't paying attention. That's plausible to me too. I don't have a hard and fast on this. I think, in my opinion, to completely round this whole thing out, here's what I think happened. This is Hunt's opinion, not fact. It's my opinion that Kyron was going way too fast where he shouldn't have been, that the gold truck saw him and pulled out of the way. Then the Kia behind the gold truck, who wasn't paying close enough attention, was going to hit the back of the gold truck, veered into it, and boom, the two Kias collided. So in that line of thinking, it would stand to reason that Kyron did create the gold truck's decision, and because the gold truck made that decision, the Kia behind the gold truck had to make another decision. That decision resulted in an accident, and you can connect those dots. But I can't say for certain that happened. I cannot say for certain that happened. What I can say for certain is that there were bad decisions made, that it's a tragedy that a man lost his life in that collision, and it's a tragedy that in the ensuing weeks, Kyron lost his. That I can say for certain. It's tragic. And I don't know where things go from here. I don't know if there will be further legal action that's civil in nature. That's beyond the scope of what I'm comfortable talking about. But this is a public figure. This is a guy who just finished his LSU playing career, a young person from this area who played at 2 colleges here, whose life was lost. And when something happens that advances the story, and the state police releasing a video is certainly a development in that story, I'm going to talk about it. So that's how I feel. I would welcome you to go watch the 44-minute video and the 11-minute video and draw your own conclusions. Those are mine. Glen West, go 24/7. Next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. I would just ask you to do this. Get behind the wheel of a Genesis. You can tell instantly that it is a luxury vehicle. You'll know that from the facility that you walk into and the people that you deal with at Genesis of Baton Rouge. But to me, the line of vehicles is so top-notch. You can tell instantly. And I can promise you this, and this is something you can't tell when you get behind the wheel. Every single car in that line of vehicles is an IHA top safety pick, all of them. So you know that not only are you sitting in luxury, you have all those bells and whistles at your disposal, you also are behind the wheel of one of the safest cars in the road. I'm just telling you, when that time comes for you to get behind the wheel of a new car, whether it's a lease, whether it's a purchase, whether it's this month, next month, or down the road in a year, just put Genesis on your list and go try it. I promise you, your eyes will be open, because a lot of you probably have not driven a Genesis. Make that change next time you're in the market. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them airline at Pico, or check out that entire line of vehicles at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations. Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Shows brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Colin Jeter here in 25 minutes talking Tiger football. We'll do that with our guy Glen West right now, senior writer over at Go 24/7. Glenn, how we doing?
Doing great, hon. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. My baseball team's in big trouble, but other than that, I'm doing okay. Let's just get out and talk offensive line. If everybody's healthy, who's your right tackle?
I probably will stick with Weston Davis as my projected right tackle. I mean, that's just what I think LSU is going to do. I think, for a lot of people who are wanting to see the freshman Carius Kern play, I think left guard is probably a little bit more of a likely proposition that he plays left guard than right tackle this weekend, unless something happens with Davis and he has to go out of the game or something. But I would say Weston Davis is probably going to be the right tackle this weekend.
We obviously saw Kern working a lot at left guard and at left tackle in the spring and starting in the fall. You've got an injury there with Mabenga. You've got Chester. You've got Cohen Eccles. Do you think Kern is an actual option there at left guard?
I do. I mean, there was an opportunity for them to go back to Chester in the second half in the Ole Miss game 2 weeks ago now, and Brian Kelly talked about this yesterday, that they really liked the reps that Carius Kern was giving them at right tackle. And so, why wouldn't the same be true to left guard, for example? I mean, I know Chester has some experience and has the games under his belt, but I think if LSU truly wants to kind of mix things up, and kind of see what they have in this freshman, they should throw him out there and see what he can give them at any spot that's available. And so I think there's a very realistic chance that Kern could be your left guard this weekend. I think Mubanga with a high ankle sprain, it'd probably be a little bit, it's probably not likely that he plays this weekend on just 2 weeks away from that, 2 weeks removed from that injury. But Chester and Eccles and certainly Kern, I think, are all going to be in that mix there at left guard for this weekend.
I've kind of got a sequenced question here, so I'll start. This will probably be a very short answer. Do you feel like LSU's offensive line has been bad in the run game early on?
Yes.
Do you think they're going to continue to be bad for the rest of the season?
Probably.
Okay, so what does that mean then, if that's the case?
I think you have to work for incremental improvement. I don't think we're going to see, a rushing offense go from 15th to 2nd in the, over the next 7 weeks. But if you can find ways to make this thing a little bit more efficient in the run game, find ways to make it, I've been using the word timely. If you can find timely runs of 6, 7, 8 yards, pretty on a consistent basis, I think that's a win. As long as they're not runs where you're getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage or losing a yard or two and just getting yourself behind the chains, as long as they're moving forward as a run game, then I think that's a win for LSU. I'm not asking for explosive runs. I'm not asking for huge holes for these running backs. It would be nice to see because I do think there are some talented backs, and look, I think it's a two-way street too. The running backs got to be able to see those holes and hit them hard and make guys miss and things of that nature. But it really does start at the offensive line for me in the run game, and just what kind of incremental improvement can that group make over the next 7 weeks? I don't know. But if you could just start by being a little bit more devoted to the run game, if we see LSU run the ball 32, 33 times on Saturday against South Carolina, I think there will be some good runs there in that number.
As far you said, you don't expect the offensive line to get significantly better. Do you expect Garrett Nussmeier to get significantly better?
I sure hope so, because I do think that the season really rides on whether or not he can get to a version of himself that we've seen in the past, which is just a guy that can sling the ball down the field. I mean, I think we've seen a player in last year that was capable of doing that, and he has a much stronger arm than I think we've seen in certain spots of this season. They got to start hitting the vertical deep threat balls, and I think that's been the area of focus for them the last 2 weeks. And but it's a believe it when we see it kind of deal for me right now, because I thought there was some real headway being made after the Southeastern game. I thought he looked good. I thought the passes came out of his hand pretty sharp in that game, and then in the Ole Miss game, he just missed a lot of the balls that I think he probably should have been completing. And whether that's due to his injury or not, they need him to be a much better version of himself than what he's been these first 5 weeks for this offense to really improve and to give this team a chance to make that playoff push here over the next 7 weeks.
All right, let's talk about South Carolina. Lenora Sellers is obviously the headliner for that team offensively. He ran all over LSU when healthy last year before going out of the game. Does he pose a significant threat to this LSU defense?
I think he does. I mean, he's pretty much their entire offense. I mean, I've gone back and looked, and like they don't have much of a pulse in the run game outside of what he can do. And through the air, he's got a couple of receivers. Nick Harbor is a guy that can be a vertical threat for them, but they haven't really attacked the downfield portion of the passing game all that often this year with South Carolina. But he's very capable, and he's obviously got that dual threat ability there. I think there's probably going to be a little bit of a chip on this defense's shoulder for LSU from a lot of the returning players last year that watched him run really all over them in the first half of that game against South Carolina last year. But if you're able to take one or two of those things away, if you're able to limit him in the run and make sure that he's not extending plays to open receivers and open players downfield, then I think that's a win for this defense, and they should be able to get off the field pretty consistently. But it really does start and end with Sellers and just how much pressure they're going to be able to apply. This offensive line for South Carolina has really struggled to keep Sellers upright. I mean, he only has 98 rushing yards on the season, and that's because he's got 130 yards in sack yards. So if you're able to get pressure with guys like Jack Piber, Harold Perkins, Patrick Payton, the Weeks brothers, I think LSU should be in pretty good shape defensively this weekend.
It hasn't mattered who the quarterback's been the last 3 years. South Carolina's given up a lot of sacks. Rattler took a lot of sacks. Sellers took a lot of sacks last year. And they've given up a lot of sacks this year, as you mentioned. So LSU's pass rush from a sack number standpoint hasn't been awesome. Do you trust them to be disruptive this Saturday?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe they haven't gotten home on a lot of the plays, but they've been able to get pressure. And I think sometimes that's almost as important as, maybe not making the play. So if they're able to consistently apply pressure from all angles, contain him, keep him in the pocket, keep him from scrambling. That's the thing that Trinidad Chambliss did so well for Ole Miss a couple weeks ago was LSU did a pretty good job of applying some pressure on him, but he was able to escape and make plays with his legs, especially on third down. They've got to be able to eliminate that this weekend and not allow South Carolina to have these big drive continuing third down conversions with Sellers in his feet.
And last one, pretty broad question here. How big is the game Saturday night for LSU?
I think it's pretty big. You have to set a tone in October. I mean, I think LSU has to go 3-0 in October to really give themselves a realistic chance of running through the conference and being able to finish as a 2-loss conference team. And you've got to be able to set some kind of tone this weekend, I think, with your offense. I think this is you're going to have the home crowd behind you. I think you can be a little bit aggressive on South Carolina here. This is not a defense that's going to or that shouldn't be able to overwhelm your offense if you've made some strides like they think that they have. But it all starts to me with the quarterback. It all starts to me with LSU being able to get a little bit more vertical with their passing game. And if you're able to do that, maybe you can eliminate some of these just 3-man pressures from that you'll see probably defensively, and make it much more appetizing to run the ball and be a little bit more consistent offensively from an efficiency standpoint.
They're 9.5-point favorite. Do they win on Saturday?
LSU, yeah, I think they win. I think they're able to do this at home and really make this a very interesting game next week and against Vanderbilt, and then of course Texas A&M in 2 weeks. This is a crucial 3-game stretch. Like, I think you have to go 3-0, and I think that South Carolina's the first one on that belt, but this is going to be probably the easiest of the 3 if I had to put a prediction on it right now.
I would tend to agree with that at this point. This is not a South Carolina team that has played very well at all to this point. He's Glen West, senior writer at Go 24/7. You're looking for team coverage or recruiting coverage, they have got you covered over at Go 24/7. Glenn, thanks, man.
All right. Appreciate it, Hunt.
You bet. Kendall Rogers had a tweet out about LSU baseball, a little position shuffle for the Tigers. I'll let you know what that is and my thoughts on it when we come back on this Tuesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer.
With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here on this Tuesday, fast-moving hour. We'll have Colin Jeter in 10 minutes talking Tiger football. Kendall Rogers, of course, with D1 Baseball, had a tweet earlier today saying that he's hearing from people inside the LSU baseball program. Got a pretty good sense of who that is. Jay Johnson talks to all these guys in the fall, and I'm assuming that's where things are coming from. That's my assumption. I don't know that, but it's a reasonable guess. That LSU is going to flip Derek Curiel and Chris Stanfield defensively entering the 2026 season. Of course, Curiel played left field for LSU the vast majority of the year last year. Stanfield was the everyday center fielder. There was the one day in College Station where Stanfield misplayed 2 balls, and they moved Curiel into center for the rest of that day. I think it was a doubleheader, so he played a game and a half there. But other than that, Stanfield was the center fielder. Curiel played left. I think this is a fine move. I don't think it's a massively impactful move. This is, in my opinion, I'm sure Jay Johnson will answer a question about this in his media availability on Thursday, so we won't have to guess come Thursday, but as of today, I'm willing to guess. This is just something that deals with draft stock. Derek Curiel is a projected first-round pick, and it is better for you as a draftable prospect if you play center field as opposed to left field. Center field is a premium defensive position. Left field, very much not. So if you can prove you play center field, then you can improve your draft stock. And when you get players to campus of Derek Curiel's high school stature, you have to develop them to be the best draft picks they can get so they can become that the next guy can come and trust that you'll do the same for him. And so this is, again, I think Stanfield would be just fine in center field next year. I think Curiel would be just fine in left field. I don't think Curiel is going to be a significant upgrade in center field over Stanfield. I think both of them are above average runners. I think Stanfield probably runs the 60 a little bit faster. I think that their jumps and their instincts are relatively similar. Curiel might be a little bit better. I wouldn't push back on that at all. But I don't think this is something for the 2026 team that is of note about their ceiling, their floor, their projectability. I think this is just something that when you're at a program of LSU's stature and you anticipate signing players who will have big draftability profiles when they're finished at LSU, you've got to do your best to elevate those players so that they become high draft picks, so the next group of them comes in the door and you can send them out in a better spot than they were. So to me, this is not a decision I think that impacts the team bigly, to use an incorrect adjective, but I think it is one that will help Derek Curiel at his draft stock. So the outfield is set. You're going to have Stanfield in left. You're going to have Curiel in center. You're going to have Jake Brown in right. I am curious to watch Jake Brown hit left-handed pitching in the fall. They start practice on Thursday. And I'm confident that he will get every opportunity to hit left-handed pitching in the spring. Why do I say that? The exact same reason Derek Curiel is going to center field. because Jake Brown is also a very, very highly draftable prospect, but he needs to be able to hit left-handed pitching. And you can't hit left-handed pitching if every time a left-handed pitcher pitches, you sit on the bench. So he's going to get that opportunity. That's one where I do think the variance with Jake Brown, like it's possible he could go out there and be a 140 hitter against left-handed pitching again. And if that's the case in May, you'll have to do something about that and do something with your personnel and get some right-handed offense into the outfield. But I think Brown will adjust. I think he'll be really good, and I think those three guys will be stalwarts in your lineup in different spots. Curiel and Brown toward the top. Stanfield likely, in my opinion, toward the bottom. Very, very good defensively. Stanfield is an elite left fielder like Curiel would be. Curiel, I believe, is a very much above-average center fielder. And Jake Brown, while he was not good defensively as a true freshman, went out to the outfield, he wasn't very good. Made, of course, a big misplay in Chapel Hill. Much better this past year, and I think will get better. When you're that athletic, you can figure out the outfield pretty quickly. So that's definitely a strength of this LSU team. If you missed the top of the segment there. Derek Curiel moving to center field. Chris Stanfield will be in left field. Jake Brown be your right fielder in Baton Rouge. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, reporting that. Missed any of the first hour? Catch it on demand. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. We're back with Colin Jeter after Sports Center.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Daryl May of Trusty Properties. That's a name you can trust. I'm going to give you Daryl's cell phone number at the end of this read. So if you're looking to buy or sell property or a home, Daryl May of Trusty Properties can help you do it. Daryl grew up here in Baton Rouge. Went to Catholic High. He's lived in the 225 his entire life, moved up to St. Francisville, but he knows this area. He also spent better than 2 decades as a builder. So if you're talking about buying or selling a home, Daryl has the unique skill set of being able to help you from a real estate perspective and from a building and home perspective. So he knows what the right listings are. He knows what things should cost. He knows what a good buy is. He knows how to sell your home and market it as well. So I tell you all the time, if you're looking for land, Daryl May can help you do that for sure. But if you're buying or selling a home, just a residential property here in Baton Rouge or in the surrounding areas, Daryl May at Trusty Properties can help you out with that. Daryl May, Trusty Properties, a name you can trust.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. The Bengals are bringing in Joe Flacco. Cincinnati swapping 2026 5th and 6th rounders with the Browns to trade for the former Super Bowl MVP. Joins the team a couple days after the Bengals lost their 3rd straight game with backup Jake Browning, who threw 3 more interceptions in the loss to the Lions. They've been outscored 113-37 during the 3-game losing streak post-injury to Joe Burrow. Flacco adds another stop in the AFC North in the first trade between the Browns and the Bengals since Cleveland re-entered the league in 1999. In college football, Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer is pushing to return for Saturday's game against Texas. There's a belief that a return is possible less than 3 weeks after hand surgery was the ESPN Bet Heisman favorite before going down. In baseball, the ALDS continues tonight. Mariners and Tigers heading back to Detroit tied at a game apiece. Seattle picking up their first playoff win since 2001 in Game 2. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you just how many non-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the NFC I trust right now over Baker Mayfield. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge every Tuesday, top of hour 2. Welcome on our guy, former Tiger, Colin Jeter, now with the LSU Alumni Association. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Tigers didn't play, but the Saints did get a win.
The Saints got a win, which may not happen a lot. So we kind of soaked that up on the Monday edition here. We'll see if they can get 2 in a row against the Patriots, who are all of a sudden playing a little bit better football than we had anticipated a couple of weeks ago.
That is true. Yeah, Drake May's lighting it up.
He's doing quite well. Football Friday coming up this week. Fired up about it. Tell everybody about what we can expect coming up on Friday over at Lud Cook.
Yeah, another great venue. It's almost sold out at this point, so if you want to get a table, I suggest getting on that early. But got some great guests this week. We got Brad Wing. We got Russell Shepard.
Excellent.
We got Verge Osbury, who obviously is not only our AD, but also played I think it was 87 team that played South Carolina in the
Gator Bowl.
And then we've got one more that's up in the air. I don't want to announce if he's not coming, but it should be another good name to finish it off.
The guy Russell Shepard selling like trash collection stuff in some way.
He's a machine. He's selling waste management products, and he is unbelievable. He's killing it. So.
I love to hear that. So we'll look forward to hearing from all those guys coming up on Friday at Football Friday at the Cook. LSU back in action, had a bye week, decompressed. Like, how are you feeling physically after a bye week, Monday, Tuesday? I got to feel like it's a little bit different than it would have been the first 4 weeks of the year.
Yeah, much better. Body's got a weekend to get rest, maybe go out, hang out with the boys, do something a little relaxing instead of being stressed about a football game. I don't know. I think, who knows what they got into this weekend. But I would imagine we're fired up this week. We're looking forward to playing South Carolina.
We got to talk about the offense and what the realistic path forward is, because you could say, like, well, they just got to run it a lot better. I don't know how realistic that is. Better is realistic, but like, what is your ideal of what this offense can become over the next 8 weeks?
Look, what are we, 6 weeks in the season at this point? Yeah. You're not going to make leaps and bounds. I mean, the team is what it is. You can obviously adjust and make some fixes here and there, maybe slight scheme changes to affect that run game. But it's not like we're going to show up and be old school Leonard Fournette 2016 LSU Tigers. It is what it is. But we will find avenues, I would imagine, after getting a week off and an additional week to game plan for South Carolina. Surely we find some routes in there to get that run game going just enough to where we become more of a balanced offense.
How much does Caden Durham help? Obviously didn't play in the game on not Saturday, a week from Saturday against Ole Miss. What does he bring?
Everything. It's one of those things where we talked about before. Not only do you have to be great when the ball's in your hands, but when it's not in your hands, so whether that's pass protection, being a decoy on play action, anything else, he's a great player. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. So I think both in the run game and outside, he brings a lot of aspects that we're going to need on this team.
Dylan Stewart is an edge rusher for them. He is among the best in the country, was just a phenomenal freshman last year and has gotten off to a very good start this year. 7 TFLs, 3.5 sacks. You played tight end, dealing with those guys, how much you had to help comparatively to how much Bauer Sharp, maybe even Trey Green have got to help. Like, how big a deal is neutralizing that defensive end? And then, like, what do we need to do with our personnel to make that what the goal is?
Yeah, look, there's a reason edge rushers are so highly paid in the NFL.
Yeah.
They can absolutely wreck a game. And he can certainly do that. He's a big, long, rangy guy, 6'5", 250, I think. Great player, will probably be a day one draft pick, I'd imagine, here in the spring. We have to find ways, whether that's tight ends helping on pass protection, double teaming on the end on certain run concepts, getting backs to chip on them. It takes a lot. When you got a game record like that, the offense obviously has to scheme around him. But I think we can certainly do that.
Going to have to keep him away from Garrett Nussmeier, because if you let those guys get after him, that's when bad things can happen to this LSU offense. That hasn't been a huge issue. Like, how do you feel like the offensive line's done in pass protection? We've talked about the run game a lot, but what about in pass pro?
I think pass pro, we've done enough. Obviously, we're doing a good job getting the ball out quick this year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've almost spammed the screen game. But if we get the ball out, there's ways to build around what we do. And we're good at least getting the quick game going. If we can take advantage of that, it really doesn't matter. If your line is good enough to hold up for 2 seconds, we'll be fine.
Lenore Sellers, bit of a problem. He is, I think, let me think about this. I think he's the best athlete at quarterback in the conference. There's not one that's jumping to my head that would be better. Chambliss is good at Ole Miss, but I think Sellers is more physically gifted than Trinidad Chambliss. Like, what does that present to LSU? It did not go well last year when he was in the game before he got hurt. How much more confidence do you have in this team to handle that?
Yeah, I was going to say last year, he came out hot, and he's a great player. He's another guy that I think will be a day one pick. Could climb into a top 5 pick the way that the draft goes. He can do both, and that's a massive difference when you're as far as scheming up defensively. Obviously, last year we ran into that, and I think LSU fans got first taste of that when we played Texas A&M. You spent all week scheming for a guy like Wegman, who is a pass pro guy. Then they bring in Marcel Reed, who can do both. It changes a lot as far as what you do defensively as a scheme. So I think we'll be better prepared for that this year. Obviously, we got a taste of him last year with Sellers, but we'll find ways, I think, to contain him. We'll do a lot more spies, maybe more zone coverage instead of man, because the minute you get locked in on man coverage, DBs get turned around. They're not have no awareness of the quarterback running. So I think you'll see more zone concepts, more quarterback spies. Obviously, that's what I would expect to see.
I talked yesterday about LSU's coverage grade on Pro Football Focus, and some people love that stuff, some people don't. Either way, I think that it's relevant in the discussion to kind of to form a conversation. The coverage grades are phenomenal for LSU, like really, really good. What have you seen from the defensive backs and how they've played thus far?
Look, we paid well in the offseason, and it's showing off. I mean, both defensive backs. I mean, anytime you got a corner that's 6'5", as a freshman, and it looks like he's going to be all-world as he develops, that always helps. So we're great on the back end. I think linebacker are great. Obviously, defensive line, look, that your defensive line can almost add, 5-10 points on your back end grade just because they're getting pressure on the quarterback. You get in the quarterback's face, he starts making bad decisions, starts making erratic throws. That helps your defensive backfield more than anything. But I think we're set. I think the kid out of Houston that we got in, and maybe our best player on defense, he still played lights out when we played Ole Miss. We've got a lot. We got the corner from Virginia Tech. We got the freshman on the other side. We've got playmakers in the back, and I'm not worried about our defensive backfield at all.
Colin Jeter is our guest, former LSU tight end, now at the LSU Alumni Association. He's here every single Tuesday. Football Friday coming up at the Cook this Friday. Excited to be out there talking some LSU in South Carolina. I like getting your thought on this because you've been in that facility, on that practice field. Like, there's a sense that, like, if LSU doesn't play well this weekend and doesn't win, like, you can pretty much X out this season in the fan base. What do you think their mindset is as a team?
I think just like as they started the season, it's all about going 1-0.
Okay.
And, that's their focus. We're not looking towards the back end of the season. We're looking at how can we win the game this week in front of us. And I think that's all that's on their minds. It's one of those things, look, we win, great. We lose, it is what it is. We still have every opportunity on the back end of the season to come back and make a great year out of I guess that would be a 2-loss year. That's playoff makeable. And who knows, when you get into the playoffs, it's all about who's the hot team at the time. But I really think they're not even looking forward to that. Right now, it's what can we do to win this matchup against South Carolina. And personally, I think we'll win it and we'll get back on the role and projection that we're supposed to be on.
See, and this is not an LSU thing. This is a fan thing. Fans have a hard time. They don't like to hear that. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. They don't like, that's not interesting. And they don't necessarily believe that because we don't think that way. Like I'm sitting here analyzing, I'm looking at Texas A&M and what they look like, and got a quarterback that's really good, and Pavia's a good quarterback, and you get Mateer, he'll be healthy at the end. I'm looking at all these different scenarios. And I've talked to enough LSU players across 3 sports that's like they don't ever consider that. It's like, well, we got practice today, so we'll go learn some more plays and put it in. And it just, I like hearing it from a player, and so you saying it on this show, like the fans that are listening hear it. I can hear it from the players at player interviews, but they can hear it from you. It really is just a different mindset when you got the pads on.
Yeah, I mean, I think today when I was in school, I was just worried about what I'm eating for lunch today.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's all about lunch, practice. What can we do today to go towards the matchup this weekend? And look, we can't beat Alabama this weekend.
Nope.
We can't beat Texas A&M. None of that matters. If you don't win this one, what good does it do looking forward to the future if we're not focused on winning this game? I think that's just the athletic mindset of let's focus and do everything we can do today, this hour, this week to get the win done this weekend. And then when that game's over, we're going to prepare, get our bodies ready for the next matchup. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on doing everything we need to do now to win this weekend.
And with that said, let's start moving forward beyond this game because we can do that as fans.
Yeah.
So, but here's the other part of that. It's like if you don't win this weekend, well, you can't beat Ole Miss, you can't beat South Carolina. You're not going to be able to win the rest of these games. You're going to the Gator Bowl or some bowl I never heard of. Who cares? But on the flip side, you do beat South Carolina at home. Then what's next? It's Vanderbilt. Now, it's not the Vanderbilt from 6 years ago, but it is Vanderbilt. It's winnable. If you can win those 2 games, you come back to Tiger Stadium for a night game against Texas A&M, that's going to be fun. And so all of a sudden, it's interesting how the mindset can shift so drastically over the course of just 1-2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm getting chills just thinking about Saturday night against Texas A&M, But yeah, look, you take this game, you beat this opponent, we're back on track, go up to Nashville, give Vandy the same recipe, then we're right back in action. We're wherever we want to be towards the top of the SEC. I still on the back, I look towards the schedule. I'm looking forward to what this team can prove and these matchups we have coming in at the end of the year.
You got a score prediction for Saturday night?
I'm going to go, let's do 27-17 this weekend.
That sounds about right. I mean, that's right on the Vegas numbers. 9.5 is what they think.
And, well, there you go.
And so you got a good defensive effort against a bad offense at this point, and you score enough points in that stadium. As I've said, really since August, I trust that defense in that stadium in a big way, and especially I think against South Carolina. So we'll see how the rest of the week unfolds. I know October's a big month for y'all, the Alumni Association.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Football Friday this weekend. We've got another one against Texas A&M coming down the road. But in the meantime, we do have Tiger Nation Challenge coming. That's going to be the week of October 20th. It's our national campaign to go towards our just national plan. I mean, everything we do around alumni events, business networking, everything that goes into our programming, a lot of that comes in through Tiger Nation Challenge. So a big week for us. Really looking forward to the rest of this October. We'll have restaurants in the Baton Rouge area involved with us, getting that planning in now. Should be a big week. So really looking forward to Tiger Nation Challenge. Tune in for what we got going at the Alumni Association.
Tigers helping Tigers. We love to see it. We appreciate you coming in to see us every Tuesday. We'll see you. I was going to say we'll see you next week. I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, let's go. See you on Friday.
Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end with the LSU Alumni Association. All right, we're going to take a timeout. Sharief Ishaq's with us in 15 minutes. I'm going to throw all my professionalism out the window in the next segment. So if you want to hang out for that, you can do it.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. America's best warranty. I tell you about it every single day. You know about the facility. You know about the staff. You know about the luxury line of vehicles. But every new purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Every vehicle comes with a 5-year, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. You got that enhanced roadside assistance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 years, no matter how many miles are on that car. And you got that complimentary schedule maintenance. Complimentary, that means free. Valet means they'll come get it for you. So you don't have to pay for those oil changes. You don't have to lift a finger. They just come get your car, bring it in, get it serviced, bring it back to you. It's just part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. They're on airline at Pico. You can find everything online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Daryl May of Trustee Properties, a name you can trust. He's a licensed realtor, Louisiana and Mississippi. I always tell you, if you're looking for land to hunt, build a second home, get that place on the Mississippi coast, Daryl May is happy to help you with that. But also, just buying or selling homes here in City of Baton Rouge, the surrounding areas. Daryl's a lifelong resident of the Baton Rouge area, and he is an expert on all things home building, where he spent more than 20 years, and in the real estate game. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home in Baton Rouge and you're not sure where to start with that process, Daryl May, Trustee Properties. That is a name you can trust. All right. There is an amount of decorum that goes into this gig. Y'all all know how badly I want LSU to win and everything they do. And I am emotional when it comes to LSU sports. But when you get here, you've got to be reasonable. You've got to present your case, and you've got to have an open mind about things. You can't just rant and rave and go crazy.
I know where this is going.
You've just got to be between the buoys. You got to have an opinion, and you can raise your voice every now and then, but you can't act like a 4-year-old, okay? You got to cover the team respectfully. I don't cover the Cubs. And I'm really salty about the way the last 2 days have gone for the Cubs. And so I'm probably not going to act very responsibly, reasonably. I'm not going to act maturely. I'm not going to handle the losses like a big boy. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to be a whiny crybaby about the whole thing because I hate it. It doesn't make any sense to me why the Brewers are doing what they're doing to my Cubs. I'm furious about this. I've got a Brewers team that somehow traded their closer to the Yankees, who now stinks. They got better. Their ace, Corbin Burns, Cy Young Award winner. They let him walk. They're better. Brandon Woodruff, their number 2, massive arm surgery. He's hurt. They're better. Ryan Braun, he retired. Christian Yelich shelved himself. They're better than they were. The Cubs, meanwhile, tried out a lineup that has Carson Kelly, first-round pick, Michael Busch, first-round pick, Nico Horner, first-round pick, Danny Swanson, first overall pick, Matt Shaw, first-round pick, Ian Happ, first-round pick, Pete Crow Armstrong, first-round pick, Seiya Suzuki, huge high-price free agent, Kyle Tucker, first-round pick. These are all supposed stars. They make all-star teams. Does Bryce Terang make an all-star team? No. He just spurns my favorite baseball team in college and then goes to Milwaukee and lights it up. Does Joey Ortiz make an all-star team? No, he does not, because he can't hit at all. But he plays shortstop for the Brewers, and they're great. Andrew Vaughn is the worst draft pick the White Sox may have ever made in the first round. This man, this season, was hitting 189 for the White Sox. He had 43 strikeouts and 7 walks. They traded him to the Brewers because he was atrocious, and he becomes the next iteration of Babe Ruth. Until he doesn't. Hit his last home run of the season on August 15th. Hadn't hit a home run since August the 15th. He hits a 3-run shot yesterday against Shota Imanaga, another massively priced free agent from Japan that the Cubs signed. This doesn't make any sense. They got Blake Perkins out there in the lineup. This man has a career-high home run total of 6 for his career. His career-high batting average is .240. This team is 22nd in the majors in slugging and home runs. They're bashing balls out of the ballpark last night like it's a home run derby.
And oh, by the way, Hunt, maybe the biggest one you're missing. I didn't even think about this. The biggest point, the biggest factor that makes 0 sense, EMSA said this in the chat. The Cubs took the Brewers manager and got worse. And they got better.
The Brewers don't need any good players, any manager. They spend less money on their payroll than I do at the grocery store on a Tuesday. And they're the best team in baseball? Someone make this make sense. It can't. No one could do it. Why are the Dodgers good? Because the Dodgers have spent $50 billion on their team. Why are the Phillies good? They've spent $50 billion on their team. How about the Yankees? How about the Blue Jays? All massive payrolls. So are the Cubs. Who did the Cubs play last week? The Padres. Same thing. The Brewers spend nothing. They're better than everyone. Somebody's got to make that make sense. And nowhere else in sports does this happen. No, this is not mature. No, this is not handling yourself properly. No, this is not telling every single bit of the story statistically. It is completely sour grapes from a child of a sports fan, but that's what I'm giving you here because I'm so frustrated by the fact that this happens every year. The Cubs should have been the best team in the division this year by a long shot. And oh, by the way, the Cubs led the Central for more days than the Brewers did. 30 more days than the Brewers, a month more than the Brewers, who are now just unbeatable. Nobody in driving around Baton Rouge right now can even name a Brewer. Jacob Mizorowski signed to play baseball at LSU on the Paul Skeens team. Brewers took him. He comes up, sets the world on fire. Then what happens? He can't throw it within a zip code of home plate. He almost missed the postseason roster. They brought him in on a whim last night. Well, we'll just bring this guy in here. He didn't throw balls. He's striking everybody out. Throwing 103. This is garbage. And I'm feeling like they're doing something a little inappropriate with stealing pitches.
Oh, Hunt. All right.
Maybe
All right.
inappropriate.
That
Maybe
was-
inappropriate.
That's
maybe inappropriate.
That's inappropriate, I think.
They're definitely doing legal things to get pitches. I saw a breakdown on Twitter today. William Contreras is on second base. He's craning his neck, looking around. He's shaking his hand. That is within the rules. But we got to figure out a way to stop this. And maybe that's why they're doing it. They're just better at bending the rules than everybody else. It's certainly not spending money. The only guy on this team that I will defer to is Jackson Chourio. I know he's good. He hits a 3-run homer 50 billion feet over the center field wall yesterday. I'll live with it. I'm not living with Andrew Vaughn. That guy was atrocious for the White Sox for 3 years and hasn't hit a home run in 2 months. He pumps one out of there, goes from 3-0 to 3-3 immediately. They threw a bullpen game at us yesterday anybody's ever heard of. They got Jose Quintana in their starting rotation. And they're the best team in baseball. Somebody make that make sense. You can't. I am furious with this baseball team.
You know who one of their starters is, Hunt? Chad Patrick. Who is that?
I'm aware of Chad Patrick. He pitched last night.
Who is he?
Nobody knows who Chad Patrick is. It sounds like a created player from MLB 26 on Dynasty mode. Nobody knows who that is. Nobody knows who any of these people are. You know they know who they are? They know who Devin Williams is, who they traded off. They know who Corbin Burns is. He wins a Cy Young. They let him walk. Willie Adames, their shortstop, all-star for them. Just go to the Giants. It's fine. We'll find somebody else. Who do they find? Joey Ortiz. Guy hits a $105 for the season, gets a 2-out single right in front of a 3-run homer last night. Joey Ortiz. We can't get him out. The Cubs are just littered with first-round picks, littered with all-stars. Kyle Tucker, supposed to be the top 10 player in baseball. All he does is ground out to first.
Pete Crow Armstrong
hadn't gotten a hit since the 4th of July.
He swings at every single ball above the strike zone. He swings at almost every pitch anyway, but the ball above the strike zone he cannot resist.
How about the one that bounces in front of the plate? Because he swung at 2 of those last night too. I'm staying up till 11 o'clock
to watch this.
To watch this garbage. I got Beck trying to change my cable plan. You want to talk about this? You want to apologize?
No.
I'm sitting there watching this game last night, top of the first inning. I get a text from Beck. I love openers. 10 seconds later, Seiya Suzuki blasts a 3-run homer. I go, oh, well, Beck's ahead of me. We'll see how that goes. I get a text in the second inning. Unbelievable. Well, now I got to watch this joker, Andrew Vaughn, 10, 15 seconds later launch a home run. So I send Beck a text message. I say, hey, Beck, you're 15 seconds ahead of me. I need you to wait 30 seconds before you text me. Did you say, oh, sorry about that? Is that how you responded? I won't do it. That's not how you responded?
No.
How did you respond?
I said,
what cable do you have? I said, I have Hulu TV. I'm streaming. Then what'd you respond?
I said, get YouTube TV.
You wanted me to change cable providers mid-game. And then when I said, please don't do that, which you did it again, did you say, oh, sorry about that? No, you didn't.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine, is what you said. And then you said, sorry, my television is better than yours.
Which is true.
Is this the right time, when the Cubs season is on the brink, with this team that I despise, that I can't figure out, you to be heckling me about my cable plan, or lack thereof?
No, but it was
a little
funny.
Decorum, a little decency in this October.
Hey, I was right there with you, all right?
No, you were not. You were part of the problem.
I was 30 seconds ahead of you, I guess.
A disastrous Monday night. Too late, and then I got to stay up. Myers is screaming, his throat hurts. I'm trying to give him medicine. I didn't get to go out until 1 o'clock. I hate the Brewers. I hate the Brewers.
At least the game starts at 4 tomorrow.
Mizorowski spurns my team in college, goes up to the big leagues, and has the audacity in the, what was it, the third inning?
It was the first inning he was pitching.
The third inning of the game. He gets a ground ball back to the mound and runs over to first base and fist pumps like he has won the World Series
championship. Jumping in the air, celebrating like he literally just closed the game out.
He deserves to have his block knocked off.
And then Christian
that
Yelich.
Guy,
says that we're underdogs. We're embracing the underdog role. They won 97 games. They won the most games in the MLB, but they're the underdogs.
Their payroll is offensive. Guarantees payroll is bigger than the Brewers.
You know who has a bigger payroll than the Brewers? The Rockies.
Guaranteed.
The Rockies.
How many did they win?
43.
43 this year. I'm just offended at what's going on here. But with all of that said, got a game to win tomorrow.
Yep.
You get a win behind Jamison Tyone. You like that? Get to a next game on, I guess that today's Tuesday. That'd be Thursday.
2 in a row at the Red
You
Wrigley.
win that, and then all of a sudden you go to Milwaukee, and those dorks who never win anything in the playoffs and only care about the Packers unless it's convenient to go care about the Brewers, they're going to get a little tight.
Oh yeah.
If we've won 2 games in a row, get a little tight.
The imposter. The Brewers who are imposters. It has to end at some point. They have to.
Well,
fall.
They can't win the World Series. They are incapable.
They have
of
no
winning the World
chance of that.
Series.
But they have to come back to earth. It has to happen. It has to.
Starts tomorrow.
It does. At
Jamison Tyone.
4:08 p.m.
By the way, Jamison Tyone, another first-round pick. That's all we got. It's
All we
guys
got
who are
is
supposed
first-round
to be
picks.
good. Speaking of people who are supposed to be good, Sharief Ishaq next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I feel like that was a lack of decorum and professionalism for sure. But, I warned you of that, so you had to be prepared for it. I'll tell you who's got a lot of professionalism. That's David Vaughn, One Bath and Closets. Why? Because he's been doing this for 30 years. 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you're looking for some more closet space, you feel like you've just kind of outgrown things, got shoes lined up everywhere, suitcases crammed places, you pull things out and they're crinkled because you just don't have enough room. Well, David Vaughn can help you with that. Maybe it's just using your space more efficiently. That'd be fine. Maybe it's building out a new closet. He's a licensed contractor. They can help you with either one of those. Look at the pictures of their great work at onebathandclosets.com. You can see some of the phenomenal things that they've done. I promise this, he's going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online, onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way,
and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Daryl May of Trusty Property, a name you can trust. Give Daryl a call, 225-268-6915. Again, 225-268-6915. Buying or selling a home in the Baton Rouge area. Daryl May, Trusty Property, can help you out with that. Daryl May, Trusty Property, a name you can trust. All right, let's talk some Saints. Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, down in New Orleans, going to join us as he does every single Tuesday. You know, Saints got to win. And so now the question is, can they build on that win? It was a win. I talked about it yesterday. I loved that the defense forced the turnovers that they did. And you can't count on 3 fumbles every week, but forcing them is obviously a good thing. And you did not turn the ball over in return to the Giants, who have a really good front. The Saints kept at bay most of the game. There was pressure, but not enough to stall drives. And I thought it was important. They just got to win to get those vibes rolling. And they certainly made that happen on Sunday in the Dome. Sharief Ishaq was there, and he joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief, how are you?
We are so back.
Oh, yeah, baby. Are we?
No.
Well, they did something. They got to win. What was the most important part of said victory?
That they actually had a lead at halftime for the first time this season. They were able to figure out Jackson Dart after going down 14-3. So that was a good thing. 5 straight possessions of forcing a turnover, that was the best thing of the entire game. Just seeing your young talent continue to develop and make plays continues the steps in the right direction that we have, the conversation that we have every week about stepping in the right direction. It happened again, and they also got a win. So, yeah, there's a lot to celebrate when it comes to that game.
What step in the right direction did Spencer Rattler take?
Making an explosive play. We have been, kicking and screaming here on your show, throw the ball down the field, and he did. And it was a beautiful pass, man. Hit Rashid Shaheed in stride, and he hit 23 miles per hour after making the catch. So that is the type of plays that I think we need to see more of. That's why Rashid Shaheed was a great weapon under Derek Carr, and I think that's what they need to utilize when it comes to Shaheed and Spencer Rattler. And that's the way you can get more explosive plays. You saw it in the first game against the Cardinals on the sideline. This time you see it for a touchdown for 87 yards. And I think that was really good. But the one thing that I want to read off to you there, Hunt, is that, he has done a good job for the most part the entire season, not getting sacked, and that is an important thing for him. And here's one thing I'm going to read off to you. Our data analyst, Jeff Asher, sent me 102 times since 2022 where a quarterback was pressured on more than 50% of dropbacks. Rattler was just the 5th with no sacks. I think that's a very good thing when it comes to how Rattler played Sunday, and I think that's a step in the right direction for him.
No doubt. Does that concern you a little about the offensive line? Or, I know that the Giants' front is elite. It's maybe the best in football.
No, not at all. I think the offensive line played all right. They played all right for the most part. But, yeah, you're going against Dexter Lawrence, Burns, and then you have Abdul Carter. It's not easy. But for your 2 tackles to only give up 2 pressures, that is a great sign. So, yeah, I think that, trending in the right direction should be the message there when it comes to the offense and the offensive line. So But I think that they have issues still, Hunt, in the red zone. They've got to score more touchdowns. They got into the red zone a few times and they missed. So field goals, you got to at some point. Threes aren't good enough, man. You got to get sixes, and the threes are becoming an issue, by the way. And I'm sure that's another topic we're going to have to talk about.
We can do it right now. What do you think?
5 misses. He's missed a field goal in 4 of the 5 games. Not great. Kellen Moore still has his back and still confident in Blake Grupe, but at some point in time, you're going to have to start really thinking about maybe using Charlie Smith if this continues to happen. Missing crucial kicks, and that he was making all of last season. He missed 4 kicks last year, and right now he's down to 5. He's 10 of 15, and I think that's either bottom or second to worst in the NFL. That's not good enough. That's not going to cut it. You've seen kickers get cut for less than that so far this year, so I think he is on the edge. He is certainly teetering to getting cut at some point if this continues.
When would he have gotten cut during Sean Payton's tenure?
He would have gotten cut probably after the 3rd kick.
Yeah, it's a different world. We all know that. We saw it many times when Sean Payton was down in New Orleans. Let's go to the defense. Made some plays in the secondary. What'd you think?
Yeah, man, that's the one thing that I'm encouraged about some of the young players in the secondary. I understand everyone, and look, I'm on board with everyone. Kool-Aid should have dropped that ball. Yep. They would have got 35 yards of field position there, but it was his first interception. It's so hard to tell someone to drop your first career interception. And look, it led to a second one, and the second one was really good. Yep. That's a positive sign. I'd much rather see the guy make the first play. I get it. He wants his first pick, and he learned from it and got a second pick. So the secondary is young, man. That's the one area that I've wanted to see a little bit more growth from. And Jonas Sanker, man, he's just where the ball is. He just finds the ball. I mean, the good play by DeMario Davis, it hops right into Jonas Sanker's hands, but he just seems to be around the ball. Quincy Riley's not giving up that spot right now. I think Quincy Riley, he came into that game and he played really well, played very good in one-on-one coverage. So that's a very encouraging sign to see from, Jonas, Quincy, and Kool-Aid. Those are the 3 guys that, kind of opened my eyes. I know it was Jackson Darty's the rookie quarterback. Still, if you don't make those plays, it looks worse. You make those plays, at least you look good. You're showing some signs of improvement, but good on them. And I truly, look, the best play of the day, yes, the scoop and score was awesome. Brian Brzee knocking the ball out, and Jordan Howden was there on the spot to pick it up and go. But I think the best play was Terrell Burgess. And for him to get back on that flea flicker and not commit a pass interference and possibly save a touchdown was absolutely the play of the day, because that could have swung momentum major. Actually, they could have scored another touchdown before the end of the half, and it could have been lights out for the Saints. So you saw a lot of good plays, saw a lot of plays that maybe they wouldn't have been able to make the last couple seasons. It would have probably been a penalty, would have been a touchdown. But look, now you're getting your secondary, especially I know Burgess is not necessarily considered a super young player, but at least you're getting some of those guys some reps, meaningful reps, like the Howdens, the Kool-Aid, your Jonas, and getting Quincy his start. So that's it's a sign that things are moving in the right direction for the secondary.
Do you feel differently about this game with New England than you did 3 weeks ago?
Man, yes. You know why? Because New England has gotten better.
Yep.
That's why I feel much differently about it. I felt like, all right, maybe it's a chance for the Saints to maybe steal another one. And they do have a chance. Yes, they do. But if they play offense like that, I just think it's going to be tough, Ron. Not being able to score in the red zone, not being consistent, being able to hit the plays down the field consistently, it's going to be tough, man. I mean, dude, they have a good team, and Drake May continues to impress me, and he's gotten better with each start, and their head coach is awesome, man. He knows what he's doing. Vrabel is an awesome head coach. He's a player's coach. The players love him, and they rally around him. And that win was huge in Buffalo on Sunday Night Football. They got weapons. It's going to be tough, man. It really is going to be tough. I don't have them winning that game on Sunday.
What if they do?
What do they do? They're going to have to do exactly the same thing that they did Sunday. They're going to have to force 3 turnovers, and they're going to have to score 2 red zone touchdowns, at least.
The question was, what if they do? They're like, what if the Saints win this game?
Oh, sorry. If they do, but then the outlook start looking a little bit different because the Bears aren't really that good of a team. They're not like the team that you're like, oh my God, they're going to be tough to beat in Chicago. Dennis Allen's defense gives up a lot of points and a lot of yards. I mean, Caleb Williams isn't there yet, and it's one that they could steal. The narrative of the season and the team, I'm not saying the team's going to go to the playoffs, I'm not saying they're going to win 7 or 8 games, but the narrative starts changing a little bit if you steal a win from the Patriots on Sunday.
All right. Well, you said you didn't think they would get it done, so we'll see. We'll certainly talk about it next week. Saints in the win column with a W over the Giants. I'll have the Patriots in the Dome coming up Sunday at noon. Sharief Ishaq will be there with the team at WDSU. He's with us every single Tuesday. Thanks, man.
Anytime, Hunt.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Always a great place to swing on by. It's just a great place to hang out. We did a couple of weeks ago. A couple of folks from here at Guarantee went on in there, turned the simulator on, got a couple of beers ready to go in the fridge, turned it on Pebble Beach, and just played 18 holes at Pebble Beach. You can be done in like an hour and a half. It's not a 5-hour round of golf. It's an hour and a half. It's not in the rain or the sun or having to deal with slow groups in front of you. You hit the ball, you get the ball and hit it. It's a lot of fun, and it takes out a lot of the ancillary stuff there with golf. Got great seating areas, television right there at your disposal. If you want a mulligan, you can get one. And you can play dozens of famous courses from around the world on their simulator. It's just a great place to hang out. If you get a membership, you want to entertain clients there, you can do it. Get a membership, you want to go work on your game there, you can do it. Or you just schedule a tee time, get on by and see them, and get one of their 3 indoor bays there and just have some fun watching some football on the weekend or just hanging out after work. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. Find them online at swingeasygcbr.com. But stop by and see him at Segan and Perkins. Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Bend Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Daryl May of Trusty Properties, a name you can trust, licensed realtor, Louisiana and Mississippi. Daryl spent better than 2 decades as a builder. He understands the ins and outs of home construction. He's also been in real estate, so he knows both sides of the equation. So if you're looking to buy a home, Daryl knows what's a good deal, what great construction looks like, what you should be looking for. He's also a Baton Rouge native, and he's been in these parts for a very long time. He knows where you should want to live as well. If you're looking to sell your home, Daryl May can do that as well. He's got great relationships here in Baton Rouge and knows how to get it done for you. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home in the Baton Rouge area, call Daryl May of Trusty Properties. They give you Daryl Sell every single week, 225-268-6915. That's 268-6915. It's Daryl May with Trusty Properties, a name you can trust. All right, tomorrow we're going to get deeper into LSU and South Carolina. We'll have What If Wednesday as well. J.D. Piquel with us. SEC football power rankings after a wild day in the Southeastern Conference on Saturday. So lots to do on tomorrow's show. Very much looking forward to that. But we do have to close out a Tuesday edition first, so we'll do that with a little Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer, brewed by the oldest brewery in America. Yingling up there in Pottsville, PA, still a family-owned company, and they have got a fantastic light beer. Got them right here on the set. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Perfect for these Louisiana warm months. I don't know if summer's appropriate at this point, but still out there on the grill. Flight by Yingling. Still at the pool. Flight by Yingling. Tailgating, certainly. Flight by Yingling. Out there doing some fishing, playing golf. Flight by Yingling. The next generation of light beer.
All right, first one here. Your Cincinnati Bengals, Hunt. They made a trade.
Yeah.
Traded for Joe Flacco, and they're sending over a 6th-round pick. Cincinnati got a 6th-round pick. The Browns got a 5th-round pick in the trade. Putting a 40-year-old behind that offensive line should not be allowed. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. It's fine.
I'll take it.
They shouldn't do it, but they shouldn't have done it just because they shouldn't be trading assets.
Yes.
This season's over. I know that Zach Taylor can't afford to think like that because he might get fired, and I realize that nobody wants to feel that way, but without Joe Burrow, that team stinks. They're not going to win a lot of games. They're going to miss the playoffs. You ought to get as good a draft pick as you can get, and you don't need to be giving away draft picks to get Joe Flacco so that he can maybe win 2 more games. There's no return on that investment. So I would not have given away the 5th-round pick. Shouldn't have done it, and I think that it was a bad decision.
All right, next one. The Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, was fined $250K, which is probably like 10 cents to him.
Yes.
In reality, by the NFL for his inadvertent, quote, obscene gesture towards fans at MetLife Stadium. If you want to go watch the video, doesn't really look very inadvertent to me, but Jones said that the gesture was unfortunate. That was the kind of exchange with our fans. That was kind of an exchange with our fans out in front of us. There was a swarm of Cowboys fans out in front, not Jets fans, Cowboys fans. The entire stadium was brimming with enthusiasm, and certainly late in the game. The gesture was inadvertent on my part because that was right after we made our last touchdown. Jones is being truthful here. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. That's generally pretty intentional gesture to throw up the bird. So I think he probably did that on purpose. I'm almost to the end of the Cowboys doc on Netflix. I've been kind of getting through it when I can. Man, our ego is a powerful thing. They are just running rampant in Northeast Texas in the late 90s. Just egos everywhere. Talk about it a little bit more when I get to the end of the doc, but it's been evident.
All right, last one. Saquon Barkley asked the Giants for a trade before the 2023 season. That came out after John Mara mentioned. Oh, sorry, it was in the Saquon Prime Video documentary. Might also be worth a watch.
Yeah.
Which was produced by Martin Scorsese. He knows a thing or two about making films. And yes, it was the day the deadline passed, July 17th, 2023. He asked for a trade, and of course that was when the Giants put the franchise tag on. Then he ends up leaving for the Eagles. Saquon asked for a trade. The Giants should have obliged. Take it or leave it.
Based on what we know now, I take it. Like they need to get some assets for him instead of letting him walk to a division rival who then turns him into an MVP that wins the Super Bowl. That's not what you're looking for there. So, yeah, probably should have made something work there. Listen to the little kid who played Madden or whatever it is that said don't do that or whatever they were doing there in Giants land. Not great. With Saquon, which, by the way, have you heard about Saquon's investments portfolio?
No, I haven't.
He's dumped into these hedge funds that have 50, 70x and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And he's got a lot of money.
Smart man.
He lives off very little of what he makes in the NFL, and he puts it all into stuff that's just making massive returns. That's good stuff. Good to hear. Saquon got it all figured out. Good at running the ball, too. That's it for us here on this Tuesday, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Property. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound open today. Talking about the short but kind of storied history between LSU and South Carolina. I gave my thoughts on the update in the Kyron Lacey case. Also, talked a little Saints with Sharief Ishaq, talked some LSU with Glen West, some LSU baseball at the end of hour number 1. Derek Curiel and Chris Stanfield making a swap. I gave my thoughts on it. Catch all that at Hunt Palmer Show, wherever you find your sound. See you tomorrow. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel.